What up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to all our viewers. I don't even know.
Pretty much just hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe. I hope the flight to Puerto Rico is going okay.
Well, watch. In like 5 years, we're gonna have like 1 million followers. It'd be really funny in hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. It's my
love to
return
watch
to DMing, and in quite a while since we finished up mines. So as I said, I'm both nervous, but I'm excited. We today are running a standalone one shot called The Shriveled Woman, and I got that from the DMsguild.com. This is, as I've told you guys, but I just want to remind you, this is more of a mystery and kind of runs like a procedural investigation. So it's gonna be it's gonna be heavy on the criminals will be held in the court of right, like dun dun. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of role playing and asking questions, and honestly, a lot of the things have to go in certain order. So just like you might not know to look for something if you don't already have a clue or what have you. So there are certain things that you might have to go back over if you get an idea in your head.
Okay.
With that being said, usually I feel like we're all a little forgiving at times as DMs, where like, okay, yeah, you did insight and I'll kind of give you this idea too. There are going to be certain things that like there might be something there and I just can't because you haven't met a certain prerequisite to
Interesting
to get that. And sometimes that prerequisite again is a different fact, kind of like, whether it's like watching House or watching a detective show, right? They have to have the certain number of clues to kind of understand what they're looking for at times. With that being said, I already told you all that the lore in the story is a little scant, so I'll do my best fill in any gaps and make it as seamless as possible. And from there, I think that's about all I got in terms of.
I'm already in there.
I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then when we do the owl bear, or there might be some encounters, but there's no like dungeon crawl. There's literally no dungeon crawling in this adventure.
Challenge accepted.
The last sort of rule guideline, not really. It's truly designed as a one shot, both in terms of like real life. It is. They said generally it takes people between 3 and 5 hours to do this. It doesn't mean that we have to only do it in one session, but from what I can infer, just reading through all of the stuff, I think that the events themselves are also supposed to take place in basically a day, like not like, oh, let's go long rest and then come back.
Okay,
and like,
gotcha.
I think it's all just continuous events from start to finish. That doesn't mean you can't do things, but there could be consequences that happen, so like just kind of treat it as if it's urgent and important,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. Any questions before I start some music, give you a little intro and leave it to you?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Oh, and we did decide I am running the 5e, but you guys have 2024 characters. If anyone is wondering if things don't seem to match up, then that.
Right.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah. And if there are some discrepancies, we'll sort it out all together because we've all DM'd. So.
Or we won't, because who cares? We're having fun.
It's a one shot.
Loosey goosey.
That's right. Okay. So I'm gonna start some music and then we'll go.
Yeah.
All right, and this one takes a minute to start, so I'll just start into my intro. So you come on your adventures, you arrive at a town called Keegan's Rest. And this town was not necessarily an intended destination for you, but as a group, a trio, you just finished up a quite taxing experience, and you're on your way to go find more work where there's some promise. And on the way, you decide you're sick of the rain. A nice day has turned cold. Clouds have sort of occluded the sky that was once sunny, and you decide things are a little gloomy. We've already dealt with some crap. We kind of want to just find a place to stop. And so, as I said, you come upon Keegan's Rest, and you know this is kind of a hard-up town. It started off as a boarding house on the way to the mines, where miners would stay in between their journeys back home and to the mines between their long shifts. And that boarding house eventually, as people want to do more than just sleep and leave and eat a small fare, became more of an inn where they could hang out for maybe spend a couple of days off instead of going home, or maybe they didn't have a home they felt like going to. And that inn grew into a small settlement, a small collection of houses, and started to look like it could be a burgeoning mining town. As it started to expand, of course, it gained a blacksmith, because what do miners need? They need their tools, and they need them to be upkept. What they didn't anticipate was the fact that the main vein that they were mining was more of an offshoot than the primary vein itself. And so the mine started going dry. And what looked like it was going to be a prosperous mining town all of a sudden became quite stagnant. Then it had a little bit of an identity crisis. You had a new family come in, try and make it an import-export town because it already had much traffic of spices. And that didn't quite seem to work out because all the traffic was from the mining. So what you have here is a town not very remarkable, not able to sell itself as anything important, kind of a town in the heartland that once had significance, seemed like it was going to be prosperous, and now has just become a place where if someone's born there, they stay there, and maybe they'll die there because they have nowhere else to go. And the miners continue hoping that perhaps they'll strike a new vein and bring money back. But so far, all hope has not really yielded anything other than just the day in, day out toils of living at Keegan's Rest. But that's not to say there's no joy, because it sounds pretty dreary. But
It does.
yeah. But that's kind of the sense you get. So as you enter Keegan's Rest, you come to what was the original boarding house and now inn, and it's probably the most booming place of all. And that is a place called the Howling Dog. And that is the inn where we're going to start. But before we talk about the Howling Dog, I want to hear about you all and talk about what have you done? What do you think you've done? And where are you looking? And, who are you? So now I'll turn it over to you.
Any volunteers to go first?
Go ahead.
That wasn't what I asked. Okay, yeah.
The rule as a teacher is volunteering someone else is volunteering yourself.
That's exactly right. I mean, it accomplished the goal where someone's going first. So, I am playing a character called Dramavok Virenzenzumo. A very fun random name that popped up in my feed, so I figured why not go for it. He's a pretty dashing rogue type character, as that is his class. He's got some medium length, kind of like salt and pepper hair draping around. Looks kind of rough around the edges, a little bit of a swagger to him, very much of like a cocky air about him. Very dark and brooding kind of look to him. Likes fine dressed clothes. He's got like a half open undershirt on with like a vest over top. Almost like a swashbuckler look almost, but very suave, or at least he thinks that he is. The quality of his clothes are not the finest, but you can tell he takes a lot of pride in his appearance and is using like the fine things he can kind of piece together, like, to mesh together into a nice conglomerate. And he's kind of just like sitting back, drinking a nice whiskey or some kind of liquor of some kind, and just kind of like sitting back and taking inventory of all the ongoings in the Howling Dog at this point. He gives this air of confidence and swagger and kind of professionalism in like a very unsavory way, I would say. But yeah, kind of your prototypical rogue with maybe a little bit more of a flair to it as far as like fashion and maybe like a hint of kind of like, not highbrow per se, but he likes the finer things in life and tries to grab onto them when he can.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll jump in. So I'll be playing Hazel. She is a wood elf ranger, gloom stalker, if you will. Very much wood elfy, rangery, a little bit darker, long hair, which you might not have seen because she usually has her hood up. Long brown, black hair, maybe shoulder length, maybe a little longer down her back. She Dremo. Can I call you Dremo? Dremo.
You can call me whatever works.
I think she, having trusted people she shouldn't have trusted in the past, makes her almost more trusting to those who aren't stereotypically trusted. So I think she kind of is drawn to Dremo a little bit from a professional setting, maybe a little more intrigued by his overall vibe, if you will. She's a little more standoffish. She usually likes to stand, maybe looks for shadows. Definitely has you may have, if you've interacted with her, definitely has a good heart, but has been but is okay with doing things a means to an end. So is okay with doing things maybe the non-conventional way to ensure good things still happen, and bad things happen to bad people. So that's Hazel as I know her right now. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, in a completely different direction, we have Sivo Shorehill. He is a halfling divination wizard.
Nice.
From somewhere. And he is a private investigator who loves solving puzzles. And he usually will carry around just like random things to like keep his mind busy when he gets bored. Maybe a book, maybe some kind of puzzle. Whatever he finds.
Cool.
Loves Sudoku.
Fantasy Sudoku.
What's his name?
Sivo.
Sivo.
Just
Shorthill.
Okay, got it. Yep.
All right. So as you enter the three of you enter the Howling Dog, and you see this a little bit rowdier sounding in the music than it probably is in real life, but it is a bar of regulars. And again, you can tell this is like a blue collar type bar. From the sounds of it, probably the type of place that when you walk in, you feel a little bit more at home than if it was a sort of refined airs bar. You catch the eye of people as you walk in, but no one says anything. They're used to this place being a place where travelers come and go, perhaps stay a night and then move on their way. As you look around the Howling Dog, you see what looks to be a pleasant older woman, sort of just past middle age, moving with impressive ease around the tables, bringing people things before they ask. So again, you can tell this is a tight-knit community in ways. And as you sit down, you sort of take everything in, and you catch her eye, and before you know it, she comes over to say hello to you. And that's where we start. So it's like, hello, dears, you're new to the town. How can I help you? I'm Hilda. I'm the proprietor of the Howling Dog.
Very nice to meet you, Hilda. We're
Hello.
looking for some respite and some beverages.
We give that all. That's our specialty. Much respite or respite, depending on what part of the continent you come from. and we have beverages of many. So what can I get for you three?
Can I have a tall glass of milk?
Tall glass of milk?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Whiskey.
a nail for me.
Ale and a whiskey?
That'd be great.
Those things will be coming right up. And
Oh, and a
with that,
chicken. If you have a chicken, we'll take a chicken, please.
Our fare is mostly done, but I can see what we have in the kitchen if that's
Oh,
okay. with you.
okay, yeah, whatever you have is fine.
I'll be right back with the milk, the ale, the whiskey, and a chicken, or I'll let you know what else we have in the back.
Or maybe some crackers.
We have some crackers. And with that, she kind of sweeps away, smiling on her face, smile on her face, and you're left to be with each other. And so this is where I just ask you to sort of give us that little bit of detail that tells us why you're here, and sort of put yourself in the world a little bit.
I have a slight idea to kick us off, unless Brad, you have something you want to toss in.
No, I was just going to start a conversation. Go ahead. If you got an idea, go for it.
I like the idea. We just wrapped up with the job, maybe like half complete, like partial completion, maybe like 50%, like got a little bit, and we were on the trail of a bigger lead. So maybe the fact that we have Silvo in tow, Sivo in tow, just kind of like helping us divine and kind of like guide our way to this next portion of whatever it is we were doing prior to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
And then if you want to talk with each other, you can, or I can just keep
do
going.
it. Do it. Go, Brad.
Sivo, like I had said in the past, you figure it out and I'll find it and kill it.
But what if we want it alive?
The job is the job, right?
They did say double if it's alive.
Did they
Find
even
it and
tell you what it
trap
was
it.
when they hired you / us?
Just something we're supposed to track down. That's all I got.
Okay.
And at
We've at least
that,
got a lead.
would that be a good time for me to have Hilda
Yeah.
come back? Okay,
Go.
I saw the pause. I was like, let's get this. Okay, so at that, your hostess comes back, easily carrying this platter of milk and ale and whiskey, and two Sivo's.
Gross.
You know what I mean?
No, but this idea of all those together is like, whoa.
Yeah. And to your surprise, Sivo, what looks like a big old chicken leg on there, and she sets it down in front of you, puts it in front of each of you, and says, "Oh, it was the last piece of chicken, love. So I'm happy we could help you. Will
Thank
you be
you.
needing a room for the night?
Oh,
We are the boarding house in the town, or are you just passing through once the rain stops?
No, that would be preferable.
Okay. I can see what's available and let you know. What
2 rooms.
2 rooms?
At
It
least.
would be a little improper if there was only 1 room. And she kind of like scans and sees the
I know. I agree.
A lady of morals. I like it. And then she goes to sort of talk to some of the other patrons. But as that happens, you notice that she's caught, her eye catches, or something as the door opens, catches her eye, and she goes over, and you see a man in robes with certain markings on it. So if y'all want to, I would say maybe do a religion check for me.
Religion check. Okay.
Give me that +0.
Ooh. Okay.
18.
10.
22.
Okay. So you
Nothing's
see,
getting past us, JD.
right? You see that the symbols on this guy's, I guess I said robe, but it's not quite a robe. It's more like jumpsuit sounds horrible, but like, you know what I mean.
Jumpsuit?
You know?
Okay.
It's
Rose in
kind
a
of like
tracksuit.
something, yeah, with the stripes down the side, and he's got a big old gold chain of his god down the
Yeah.
middle.
So he's a Russian mobster who happens to be religious.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, it's more like rather than like a flowing robe, it's more of something utilitarian.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so you see the symbol of the god Tyr on there.
Mm.
And so you know that Tyr is the god of justice, honor, and righteousness. He's a protector of the innocent and a guiding light for those seeking true justice. And as he comes in, he kind of like his eyes does a double take towards you, and then he sees Hilda, and he kind of like motions to the back, and she goes and talks sort of secretly with him, and all of a sudden she brings him over to you. And yes,
before she does that, I think Hazel leans over and is like, to Dremo, God of justice on this guy, huh? It's kind of bullshit to me.
Interesting
People
to
like
see
us
him
don't
here.
get a lot of justice.
I mean, there's two kinds of justice in this world. I think that ours is a little bit more efficient, but funny
Can't
to
agree
see
more
him
with that.
here.
So our lead was bringing us here or passing through?
Passing through for now.
and
All right,
as
I'll chill.
as you
go ahead,
say
Jason.
that, no, it's okay. It's okay. I just want to make sure we kind of.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, so always tell
We
me.
want
there.
expose for half an hour, Jeremiah.
So at
What's your
that
favorite color? No, okay.
blue, no green.
Ah!
Yeah. So now Hilda comes over with a little bit of a more like that smile is kind of wiped off her face, and this guy comes over who's in this jumpsuit of Tyr, and
Love
you
it.
notice he's on the older side as well. He's not necessarily in his old age, but he's middle aged, and yet you see his hair is a little bit more silver than one might expect. He's got a soft look in his face, but there is a little bit of concern. And as he comes over, Hilda looks at you and says, with a lowered voice, by the looks of you, I told my friend Sten here that you might be of the adventuring sort. Is that true?
We have been on adventures together, yes.
Something like that.
And immediately, this guy kind of steps forward and he goes, if that is the case, then we have dire need of outside help. My name is Sten. I am one of the caretaker priests at the Temple of Tyr. Which I forgot to say, that was established, of course, with the mining town, because people need to pray, they need to drink, they need to sleep, right? And he goes, there has been a double murder. I can't tell you anything here, because we don't know what happened, how it happened. But if you come with me, I can assure you, you will be paid. I will give you 300 gold total. Half now, if you agree, and half the rest of it upon completion of this mystery. What say you?
So, Sivo, when he this guy says murder, he kind of like perks up and like fixes his glasses and say, "Oh, it would be a delight to help solve your crime."
As you say that, Drumavok's gonna reach over and like grab a foot behind your shoulder and kind of like pull you down a little bit, and he's gonna look it towards Sten. Sten, is that his name?
Sten, yes.
Sten, okay. It seems like you're kind of desperate to be reaching out to total strangers to help you solve this murder.
Right, yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah. To be frank, I would prefer to talk at the temple, but if I'm being honest, and he kind of like, you see him nervously look around the whole room. He's like, this is not something that happens here. I know this is not a pretty place, and it seems like one that would be rife with troubles, but we are a peaceful town. And lately, there has been too much going on that I think we need to start looking outside.
Drumavok's gonna turn and look towards Hazel and like give her a look like, what do you think?
Well, we could do less productive things to pass the time, so might as well give it a try.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Sten.
At least listen.
Pay for our tab, and we'll hear you out.
And he just looks at Hilda, and she gives him a nod.
One more milk.
Another round, and we'll meet you at the temple.
I and he kind of is like, he looks annoyed that you say one more round. But you can see that he's thankful that you're offering. So, because if that's what it will take. But please make it quick. This could be urgent.
We've been on the road far too long. We could use a rest to help clear our minds to be better of aid for you. So,
Not to
one more
mention,
round.
you want us at our best. We have to make
And
sure
they're
we're all on
at
the
their
same
best when
page.
they've been drinking.
Understood. And instead of walking out, he you see him take money over to Hilda, and he holds up the coin bag to say, like, just so you know, I'm not fooling around, but I will not give you the first half of this money until you've come to the temple. And then he just goes and stands by the door like a bouncer, but you can see him like nervously like tapping, and he's just watching you the entire time.
Interesting.
With your second round, and he like makes Hilda brings out a second round before you're done with your first one, so you can tell that there is a little bit of haste here.
Well, friends, what do we make of this?
Sounds fun.
I can't. It's hard to turn away a hunt, whether it's beast or murderers. But I'm curious what I want to know more.
Could be fun to kill some time.
Yeah, kill sometime.
Choice words. Choice words.
Well, he looks pretty anxious. Let's
Can I do an insight check real fast on Sten?
Sure.
That's not fantastic, but 13.
Okay, 13. Based on the like putting everything together, you have no reason to believe that there's anything misleading about what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, he seemed earnest, he seemed genuine, and his haste seems real, and it's not annoyance, it seems to be out of more anxiety than anything.
It does strike me as interesting that he's this urgent to get us out to the temple this quickly.
let's I want to look around the bar and see who else is out there. And my intent is to see why would he approach us if there maybe are other capable bodied individuals.
Okay.
Or
So I
others
guess-
like us.
Yeah.
So I'll do perception.
Yeah,
Listen.
go ahead.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. 7.
There is no one as capable as you in this room. You are the definition of capable, if anything, held up to anyone else in this room.
I don't even know why I looked around.
Sibo, have you finished your milk?
He's got like a milk mustache and just wipes off. So, yes, let's go.
Well, I have to admit, this is actually kind of interesting. His urgency is actually making this a little bit more interesting than I thought it would be.
Right.
Well, bodies don't stay fresh forever.
We might as well get to it. And
All right.
I'll shoot the rest of my whiskey and stand up and turn towards the door.
Okay.
So will Sibo.
Yep.
All right, and you see his like eyebrows like go up, and he kind of like his shoulders go down in a little bit of relief as you all three get up. And as you get to him, he's like, come, and he opens the door and leads you out into the streets. And the rain is still coming down. The sky is getting darker, and this is a small town, so you take about 2 turns, and you start to approach what is clearly the Temple of Tyr. And he's not stopping to talk. He is just walking, and occasionally he looks behind to make sure the 3 of you are still behind him. But there is no chit chat. He is just going.
Are you always this nervous, Sten?
We can talk when we get into the temple.
He's gonna turn to the rest of me and say, "Yes."
So yeah, you approach the temple. It's 2 floors. It's a very square, like squat building. There's only one entrance that has a large archway with a wooden door, and above it is a banner that has the symbol of Tyr, which is a set of scales balanced atop a war hammer. He doesn't stop to think about it. He just sort of opens the door with authority, so you know that like he is used to walking in through these doors. He does hold the door for the 3 of you and shut behind. Now, as you get into the temple, you see, it's pretty bare bones. It's pretty ascetic. There are a couple of benches, like pews. There is a large space for worship, whether it's a congregation, and you see some sort of alcoves off the side for sort of personal prayers. And then on the side of the back wall is a doorway that leads to what you would expect is where the people who stay here, the priests and paladins, would sleep. And you can smell some food cooking, so there's a kitchen here. And then on the very back, there's a small stairway leading up. Now, he decides to take you up he walks up the stairway and kind of has you go along with it. And, oh, sorry, that's misinformation there. Not from me, but it says like...
It's the Russians.
As you go in, he's at the hallway, and I'm like, but he's leading you, so he has to be with you. And then he kind of gets you up these small steps, and at the top of these steps is another door. He opens it, and then there's a long hallway. At the end of the hallway are 2 men dressed more in armor, and you can see there's what would be the paladins of Tyr. He sort of just walks up and nods to them, and one from nods and steps aside. The other one kind of gives him a little bit exasperated look, and looks at you 3 coming up the hallway, and then you can see a little bit of disconcerting, like a disconcertation, I don't know the noun, on his face, and he steps aside as well.
Before we walk in real quick, I'm going to, as we're walking, kind of turn and kind of like touch the other 2, just like gently. And I'm going to activate the Psychic Whispers ability, which allows us to communicate telepathically for a D6 amount of hours.
Damn!
So for the next 6 hours, we can all communicate with each other telepathically.
Nice.
So and I'm sure we've all done this before, so you all know what's going on, so we can all talk to each other in our heads as we enter in.
Okay. So as you get to the end of the hallway where you have these 2 paladins, Sten actually stops before that doorway. And it is a door with a little like viewport in it with some bars. So you imagine that it's probably a cell of some sort. And he turns around and tells you, "This is Vincent. He is the head of our paladins. And Vincent, these are our 3 new compatriots who will be helping us solve this mystery." And you can hear Vincent just, "You don't think we need outsiders, Vincent?" Or Sten, sorry.
He's talking in the third person. What a douche. Vincent doesn't think we need...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And he just looks at you. Who the hell are you 3?
I am Sivo Shornhill. Perhaps you've heard of me. I'm a not super insignificantly, moderately famous kind of private investigator. So I think my skills could be of use to you. And for the low price of 100 gold for me and my compatriots, we will solve your crime.
No, actually, it's on second thought here. Vincent, you have a really good point. We shouldn't be here at all. Why do we need to help
point.
you? We'll just take 150 gold for greeting you inside the temple, and we'll head back to our abode. So if you don't mind, just hand us the gold, and we'll gladly leave, Vincent.
All right, safe flight, Joe. See you later.
Good session, guys. All right, we got the gold. Until next time.
When Sivo, when you say that you'll solve it for him, you see like, well, no, why don't you do an insight check for me?
Oh, well, so I rolled a natural 1, but I'm a halfling, so I can re-roll it.
Please be another natural one. Please be natural one.
I thought it was for a second, but it's a 7.
Okay.
But I have a pretty good insight. So 12.
Okay, so you see that, like, although there's clear annoyance on this guy's face, when you say that you're here to solve the case a little bit, there is there's a mixing in of a little bit of relief, actually. But he's still waiting to sort of. So you said you'll help solve, but he's like, you didn't answer my question. I said, who the hell are you? Why are you in our?
I literally just said I'm famed private investigator.
He looks.
Shorehill.
He kind of looks down and just like deadpans you and just looks
I am quite
at
short.
both Hazel and Dremavok and just seems to be waiting to hear from you as well.
What's Hazel doing here?
She kind of crosses her arms a little bit. Maybe leans a little and is we are passers through that came based on this gentleman's request to, I guess, do your job for you is what it sounds like.
He bristles at that.
Dermovok's gonna laugh, and he's like doing coin tricks on his fingers, just like rotating coins and like just kind of like shoulder against the wall, just kind of like taking the whole sight in, not really saying much, but kind of like chuckling at Hazel's comments.
So this guy Vincent looks at Sten, and you see he's like, Sten, are you serious right now? You're gonna bring these three? And says like, you know that we don't know what to make of this. And Vincent just responds, all we know is that 2 people who deserve to die are dead. I don't know what else we need to figure out. No mystery or no, doesn't seem to be that important.
Who's saying that?
Vincent.
Let's see, get my notebook out here. Vincent.
Suspect number
Primary
1.
suspect. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
It's like Clue.
And who are you to pass judgment on the deceased?
And he sort of puffs his chest out almost so you can better see the symbol of Tyr over his breast.
Mm-hmm.
The scales over the hammer, I think it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I am the head of the Paladins of Tyr in this chapter and this region. And I serve justice and righteousness. And all you will find behind that door, whether it is mysterious or not, is 2 dead criminals.
Dermovok's gonna touch Hazel on the shoulder and kind of like get off the wall and be like, don't waste your breath, Hazel. You know the type. And he's gonna like walk forward and try and move past Vincent.
And Sten turns to you and says, he kind of like looks at Vincent like, calm down. And you see Vincent just kind of go silent. And Sten says, technically, he is correct. We had 2 prisoners. We only have 1 cell. We had 2 prisoners in here, and they both have died.
And who exactly has access to these cells?
And Vincent says, only we paladins and Sten here have access to these cells.
So the 3 of you have access to this 1 cell, and you 3 alone.
Yes. And any other paladin on duty. But it was...
So there's 4. 4 of you have access to the room. May I see the bodies?
Yes. I just want to assure you, no one came in or out. And Sten goes, yes, I'm not quite a priest, not quite a paladin, but I serve Tyr, and I serve Tyr in ways of charity. And so one of my jobs is to cook and to serve provisions to all who reside in this temple, including prisoners. And when I brought dinner to the jail cell. I was horrified at what I saw. I did not know what to do. Vincent and the other paladin here,
What's your name? Other
Brock.
paladin.
Brock. Brock. All right.
Are you an ex-gym leader from Pewter City?
Yes. They
Nice.
call me Brock G. O Dude.
Brock G. Oh, dude.
You
You must be Irish.
a long clan of O'Dudes.
Ah, Brock G. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So you say that no one has been in or out, except for clearly the three of you.
And Stan goes,
May I see the body, please?
Yes, and Vincent is right. Normally, no one goes in or out. I was, as far as we know, the only one to go in bringing dinner since lunchtime or brunch time, and I found what I found, and yes, I think it is time you see what I saw.
Sten, quickly. What's the name of the other paladin that has access to the cells?
Adon.
Adon.
Write that down too.
While Sivo asks to go in, I guess Hazel will just ask in their all general direction. And the two criminals, as you say, what are their names and what was their crime? If you don't mind me asking.
Sten kind of looks at Vincent and he goes, I will tell you their names, but I think we should examine the bodies before we give any more details, especially because you are outsiders, and if you do not choose to stick with this case, then our town and our denizens and our troubles are none of your concern. But it was the woman Evelyn, who's a resident, and a man who was also passing through, as you are, named Borin.
Can you spell that?
Borrrin.
I
Borin.
spelled it with a Y.
I did. I was going to, yeah.
Do they know each other?
No. Evelyn grew up here, and Borin just recently arrived, and much was not known of him. But no, he was not of Keegan's Rest as far as we knew.
Telepathically, I'm going to communicate with the other two and say, might be connected. Might need to look a little more into it.
Hazel will just say back, agree, I think we need to know what their crimes were, too. That could be a big part of what might have happened to them.
Okay.
Indeed, and Sivo just says that out loud, and then
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
walks in.
Indeed.
Well, Sten looks at Vincent and says, well, we might be, we might be a little bit in disagreement as it comes to Evelyn. But she was wanted for murder, and this other man Borin for assault. And when he says we disagree, Vincent just kind of huffs and rolls his eyes. He goes, how could you disagree? Blood was on her head. And he just sort of like kind of shakes his head and cuts himself off. Sten goes, come, we can talk inside, but I think you need to see the bodies. And you can someone do an insight check.
Someone? Just one?
Anyone.
23.
There we go.
You can tell that Sten wants to get you in a room, in the room away from Vincent. You can tell that he feels like Vincent is going to just like keep interrupting, and he doesn't want to like Not like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, doesn't want to be interrupted.
Daddy Stan.
Yeah. I do have the hearts in my background. So
You do.
it's a love shack is a little
But Stan can get together, yeah.
yes, Stan can get together. But you can tell that he doesn't want to have any more outbursts. So
Right.
yeah. So would you like to
Yes.
Let's get
Alright.
in that room.
Alone. With Stan.
with Stan
Just the four of us.
and 2 dead bodies?
Just the 6 of us. 5, 6 of us.
I don't. Does loading a new? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, does loading a new scene like pull your characters out?
Yeah, we'll need to load him back in, I believe. Yes, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna. It's nothing special to be
It's fine.
honest.
It's fine.
Um,
You do you, boo boo.
Sir, okay.
Nobody look.
All right. So, and I'm gonna have to just like draw on it because it, of course, is just a populated
fine.
sort of
It's
thing.
fine.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
The bodies have disappeared.
Oh my god, there's nothing here.
So as you enter, you see him cover his mouth, and I would like all of you to do a con save, please.
Ooh, okay. That's fun.
As a stench just pours out of the door as it opens and hits you sort of and stings your nostrils.
9.
18.
12.
You said a 9,
Correct.
Sivo? All right, I would say you fight really hard. Some bile starts coming up in your throat as this just nauseating reek of just almost like filth and decay hits you.
So I've been around some dead bodies, right? This isn't my first murder investigation.
Okay, I will let you have advantage.
Well,
Dude,
I was
you just drunk 2 full glasses of milk.
it did get better. No, so what I'm thinking is though, is this like a normal body decaying smell, or is there something else afoot?
No, that's why I'm okay. Like it's just 2 dead bodies in a small cell. So that's
Okay.
why I'm very quick to like be like, all right, sure, you get advantage.
It didn't get better; it got worse. So
Okay.
I'm fine with that. I'm just wondering if this is like normal, or if this might have something to do with the murder. It's what I'm trying to ascertain.
That would be let's hold off on that if you don't mind.
Medicine.
If you don't mind.
Hashtag warm milk.
Hashtag warm milk. Oh, where is my? There we go. Okay, so as you enter this jail cell, you see that there is only, and it's a little bit bigger than that probably is. There is only one way in or out, and is the door that you just came through. There is a single window on the room you came from, but there is no window in this cell. There is a single drain in the center of the room. Make sure that's what it is. Yeah. There is a single drain in the center of the room. Okay. And as you enter, you see on either side, doesn't quite matter exactly where, 2 bodies. What looks like could have been 2 bodies. Yeah, go ahead and do that. On one side, you see, I would say probably Sivo, forgot the name, notices, and just by stature, because they did say a woman and a man. Well, what the hell is
Goodness.
It's a dead body
that? Okay.
in the form of Jon Arryn from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
All right. On one side, you see a body that looks shriveled or even mummified.
Ew.
The eyes are shrunk into the face. The skin on first sort of just glance looks leathery, like old and aged, like again, like a mummy. Like you've unearthed some sort of dead body that the tissue hasn't actually disintegrated yet. And
Is this Evelyn, or is this boring?
You pretty much understand that this is most likely Evelyn because of the stature, that it is a female. You notice that the skin at the bottom of the nails is pulling back to reveal more than would be normal. And the limbs are quite contorted. And you don't know, perhaps rigor mortis. And yet, despite how old the body looks, as if it is slightly mummified, the clothing, for the most part, it's not flashy. It is very low-born, but it is pristine. And the hair on this shriveled, mummified, disgustingly leathery body doesn't look like the hair that would match that body. It looks like the head of hair that you would expect on someone you would see any day to day living. No.
How about the other one?
Okay. On this other body, which does not have the same sort of effect, is a young bearded dwarf man wearing priestly robes. Yet those robes bear no holy symbols. His body is covered in a clear liquid that looks to be like water. Yet his face is slightly bluish. And so that's Borin, Borrin.
And his face is blue.
Yes. And that's as much as I can give you without anything else.
All right, so I'm gonna approach the Borin,
Okay.
and I'm gonna get my magnifying glass out, and I'm gonna give him the old once over. But first thing I'm gonna try and ascertain is what his cause of death was.
Okay. Do a medicine check for me.
$15.
Okay, 15. Now, I'm assuming, I mean, you tell me, would you touch the body at all in doing this to check cause of death, or would you try not to in terms of like not tampering?
At first, I would try to not tamper. But if I can't figure it out, then I might like put my gloves on and get in there.
Okay. So, and you said 18 was your roll?
15.
15? Okay. So at first, the bluishness of the face makes you think suffocation. And yet you don't see any ligature marks on his neck. You see nothing, like his mouth is slightly agape. You see nothing occluding like the passageway. So you're like, he doesn't seem as if he choked on something. And so as you try and pry further, you sort of like feel at his neck and sort of look slightly into his mouth, touching as little as you can. You realize that the liquid that seemed like water on this body is viscous. Your finger comes away and it just sort of drips
Gross.
down like you dipped your finger in syrup. And
But it's clear.
It is clear. It looks like water, almost like when someone puts on like facial lotion and it gives their face like a shine as if it's wet, but it's it's a little bit thicker than that. And what's even more, as you try and look for other things, and as you're looking for cause of death, again, you saw no wounds, but on the right index fingertip, you see a not seemingly random, but a jagged cut on that index fingertip. So if we want to summarize, we've got, looks like, and you realize that he didn't suffocate, he drowned.
Interesting. While this is going on, Dromovok's going to go to Sten and first of all click the payment.
Yes, yeah. So he goes, as soon as he sees Sivo kind of start his business, he goes, and you kind of look at him, he's like, I assume that you will be taking the job then.
Yes, we're on the case.
And you can see why this is so extraordinary.
It has definitely piqued our interest, I won't lie to you.
Strange indeed.
What more can you tell us about these two? Why were they here? How long were they alone? I know you said you found them when you came to serve them lunch. How long were they alone for? What were they? Any details you can provide would be helpful.
In all honesty, I know nothing of that man, other than what I saw here. It was Sten and his paladins who brought him in. But he had a priestly way about him. He was often praying when I would deliver him his food. And I once asked if he prayed to a god, but he refused to answer. I knew he was a private man and thought he wanted to keep to himself.
A priest arrested for assault?
I know not what type of priest. I just say he had a priestly way about him. The way he would sort of mutter under his breath before he'd eat his food. Sometimes it would look as if he was praying in his cell. But he was always quick to try and hide whatever he was doing.
Interesting.
Now, as for Evelyn, and go ahead and do an investigation check for me. Or an insight, I should say.
Who are you asking? I'm sorry.
He's asking Sten about Evelyn and Boren.
Insight, you said?
Mm-hmm.
20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
Dirty 20.
Okay. You see his face, like, kind of soften. And you can tell, like, this is someone that he perhaps knew a little bit more. Evelyn, she grew up here. I keep forgetting the name. Keegan's Rest, as I did. And I didn't know her well, but she always was a very pleasant girl. She was lowborn. When she was arrested for murder, and she was arrested of murdering her newlywed husband, whose name was Peter.
What happened with Peter?
Oh, again, I did not go to any crime scene. All I've heard is what I've heard Vincent and his paladin say. But apparently on her wedding night, her father-in-law found her covered in her newlywed's blood, kneeling over his dead body. But ever since she's been here, she's claimed she was innocent. And yet, everything seemed to point to the fact that she was not.
How was he killed?
His heart was cut out.
And did she have a blade on her?
They do not know what happened with the murder weapon. But you will need to ask Vincent about that. That is all I know about the actual crime itself.
Interesting.
And while all that was going on, I think we've kind of maybe have a little bit of a routine, like when it comes to our jobs and our stuff. And Hazel's usually the one that kind of checks the surroundings. So while these conversations and body investigations were happening, Hazel's kind of walking the perimeter of the cell itself. Okay. Specifically the walls, the door, for anything amiss, anything that could be a way of entry, a loose brick, or a hidden entryway, anything like that. So
anything.
Just walking around the parameter. So investigation or perception.
Let me figure out where this is. I printed it out because I thought it'd be easier, but it actually might not be easier. Okay. So go ahead and roll. Well, I want to address, I realized you asked how long were they in here, and I didn't answer that question yet. Sten lets you know that that Evelyn had been in the jail cell for a week, and Boren had only been here for 3 days.
It's bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Now, Brad, go ahead and do a. I think it was a perception. Yeah, perception or wisdom check, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. All right, 22.
Okay,
Oh shit!
nice.
Popped
So
up on D&D. That's awesome.
as hard as and you are someone who notices things like that, right? Like you keep to the shadows, you sort of notice entrances and exits, and you see nothing that gives you even the remotest idea of like a secret passageway. The only thing you notice is this drain in the middle of the room. However, the largest opening on this drain is a 1-inch opening. And the doorway is the only way in or out of the cell. And again, the only window is outside of that cell door in that hallway that you were in with Vincent.
Yeah, I'll speak telepathically to the other two and say, it's strange. There is no other way to get in this room other than the cell door and the drain. There's no loose brick. There's no hidden passage. So whoever did this, if it wasn't each other, got in through this drain by magical means or through the door.
Or was one of the... Yes, I agree.
No,
We're
go
speaking
ahead.
telepathically.
Yeah, I guess we didn't clarify. Is Sivo actually speaking telepathically?
Yeah, he will be now.
Okay, go ahead.
He agrees, and he just thinks that our list of suspects at the moment is the 4 men we've met.
Dermovac's gonna like nod his head, kind of like perceptively as we're having this conversation mentally, and then he's going to turn to Sten and say, "Wait here for now. We're gonna communicate with ourselves for a little bit, get our heads together. We might want to inquire on some of the other paladins individually in this room at some point in time, if you wouldn't be opposed."
Of course.
Give us a moment too, if you would. And he'll turn and come to the middle and kind of get close to Sivo.
Yeah, as Hazel walks over real quick, she kind of ducks down and puts her finger in the drain and runs it along the edge to see if any of that goop is lining the drain hole.
Okay.
Like a little deeper to see
Yeah.
if she feels anything.
Let me see if there's anything about
In the meantime, Dermovac's gonna go to Sivo and kind of like kneel down and say audibly, "What do we have so far?"
Well, it appears he has been drowned. This bizarre liquid is not actually water or any kind of normal liquid. It's very viscous and gooey. The
Gross.
blueness in his face. What?
Gross. Continue.
The blueness in his face appears to be because he, ran out of breath from the drowning. Yes, that's about all I have. Oh, he has this jagged cut on his finger. Don't know what that is.
Have you seen anything like this before? Magically?
Well, I've certainly seen people drown before, but there are certain spells that would put a creature or a person in water. Watery sphere comes to mind, but I don't know what happened here. The strange liquid is puzzling to me. I don't know what could have caused that.
And what of the girl?
I haven't gotten to her yet.
Brad, I'll
mean,
say, just so
yeah.
you know, that you can't find evidence of anything on the drain. I guess as you do that, do an intelligence check for me.
Yeah. I don't know.
And while that happens, I think Drumabok's gonna try and just kind of get an ocular pat down of Evelyn and see if there's anything that he can recollect, like magically, that would do this.
9.
9. Okay. Yeah. You really were like, I got this. Expected to find this, but it just seems like nothing. Yeah, your finger doesn't come back up with like the syrupy substance like his did or anything like that. So you're doing like Arcana, essentially?
Yeah, a visual, like a visual scan of like anything I can think of that would like cause this effect on a body using like magical means, like any spells that would cause like desiccation or like dehydration or something like that.
Rapid aging.
All right, so I guess go ahead and do Arcana, please.
Okay. 18. I'm rolling really good.
Okay. Kind of, I mean, as you look over the body, and you kind of think, oh man, I might need some of Sivo's observations, but nothing put together. You can't think of a single thing that would cause this all at the same time to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, before we huddle up, sorry, I know that's what we were going to do. Hazel takes out her dagger and kind of tries to open the dwarf's mouth to see if that substance is in his mouth too.
Okay, with the dagger.
Yeah, not with my hand, with the dagger.
Okay, yeah, okay. I would say do a dexterity throw for me.
Oh, I'll do a dexterity. Roll around 10.
Okay.
Gross.
For a second, you're afraid that you slip, like the blade slips more than you think because of ooze, but like you get a good handle on it. And yeah, some of this goop kind of comes out of his mouth on your dagger.
Gross. I wipe it off on the ground.
I'm gonna go to Evelyn now and kind of do the same analysis to see if I can figure out the cause of death.
Okay.
She got real old real quick.
So how are you starting off then? Like, what is your first?
So my first thing is just kind of a visual, looking at what I can already see in the body, and if I can't immediately kind of ascertain based on that, I'll start kind of digging in more.
Okay. So again, just to reiterate, it's as if she became mummified. The eyes shrunk in, the skin is super leathery. The fingernails are more exposed at the base. It's as if the skin contracted. And this tells you that that's like perhaps why the limbs are contorted in these sort of nightmarish way. And so as they were kind of joking about spells, you're like, it is as if like some sort of rapid aging or something based on the clothing, or like someone dressed up a mummy to look like a real person, or somehow made a real person start to look like a mummy. Okay. We have like Crypt Keeper type look on this body right now.
But no puncture wounds on the skin, no.
In that case, I would say you have to do a medicine check.
Alrighty. 19.
All right.
Ooh.
There are no wounds on the body, but then what stands out, what really piques your interest as a puzzle solver, as you start to like gently kind of touch the body and sort of examine it for anything, you kind of get a weird inkling, because there's no springiness at all to this skin. It is as if you're afraid that you're gonna crumble old parchment in your fingers, and you sort of depress the tongue as best you can, and look in. And as best you can tell, there is no fluid left in her body.
Hmm.
But no
Gross.
puncture wounds or anything like that.
No wounds at all.
Okay. So it's almost as if someone took all the liquid out of this person, cleaned it up, and then threw it at that person. To drown. That's peculiar.
Hmm.
But inside fluid isn't clear.
Well, it can be if you strain it enough, get all
Gross.
the goo out. Maybe do a little bit of, distillation.
Do we feel like we've gathered as much information as we can from these bodies?
And for now, I may wish to perform an autopsy at some future time, but for the
Hmm.
moment, I think that yes, this is fine.
Does that mean we get to start the fun portion of this?
What are you asking about the interrogations of the
Well,
Suspects.
interrogation's a strong word.
conversations then?
Aggressive conversations.
Very good.
Hazel?
Sounds good to me. The room has told me everything there is to know about it.
Hazel, do me a favor. Watch the body language. Sivo, I'm going to need your expertise to kind of diagnose what's going on with these bodies as we have these conversations. Sound like a plan?
Yes.
Very well.
And Jermovok's going to go back up to to Sten and say, I think we're ready for some questioning.
Okay. You have everything you need with the bodies?
For now.
For now.
You do know, as paladin, as followers of Tyr, we cannot deny them their, regardless of their legal standing. He kind of gives Vincent a little bit of a glare. We cannot leave them out for too long. We must give them their proper rest.
How much time do we have?
I would say through the night and perhaps half of the next day, if at most.
Should be more than enough time.
We're on our way come morning, so we'll solve this before then.
We'll need to speak with each one of you individually. Do we have volunteers?
I think I've told you as much as I can, but I'm willing to continue answering any questions you may have.
We'll save you for last then.
And he says, if you have any other questions, I'm sure Vincent can speak for. And he kind of just like nods to Vincent, like for him and his paladins, as he is the one in charge.
Well, as per policy, we need to speak to everyone individually. But Vincent, please.
All right. And so are you doing it in the like where the bodies are?
We would prefer that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And so
Smell it.
Right.
So it's on your watch.
Right.
Rub your nose in it.
Yeah. So he kind of goes in with ugh, and is disgusted, but he makes a show of like not letting it affect him too much. Okay. What do you want to know?
So who found the bodies?
Oh, that was Sten. He was bringing them dinner, and
And
all of a
what
sudden
time
started.
Around dinner time? Was the sun up, the sun down? Do we know?
If we're saying it probably was like an hour before you all came into town about. So let's say you got there as the sun was going down. It was probably more like a supper than a dinner time, like a 5 o'clock if we're talking. He goes, yep, normal time. We all have our dinner first, and then Sten brings after us. He brings it to the prisoners. He thinks they deserve the same food that we do. And all of a sudden he started gibbering and yelling and caused quite a commotion. And yeah.
I see. And but prior to that, when was the last time someone saw them alive?
Around lunchtime, we bring them breakfast, and then I was on duty. We brought a roll. I kind of threw it through the little window, threw them their rolls, and they were there that time.
So you served them lunch,
Yes.
and they were alive. Who was with you when you served them lunch?
Was it? No, Brock's the one that wasn't there. Oh yeah, Brock was there, and Sten was around as well.
Very good.
Now
Where were you between the hours of 2 and 7?
You said that Evelyn was here for murder.
Yeah.
What evidence do you have on that account?
About all the evidence you need. We arrived to her father, Claude Applegate's estate. He had one of his servants come get us. And all he saw, was his new daughter-in-law on the day of her wedding crying hysterically over the body of her new husband, who had his heart cut out, and it was sitting next to him. And she was covered in his blood. And all I can say is, I don't know, Sten will tell you otherwise, but she wasn't known as the most abiding of citizens, if you know what I mean.
And you never, we asked Sten about this, and he said that the weapon was never found.
No, I mean, of course, she probably wanted to get rid of it.
And did she have blood on her hands?
She was covered in blood. Like she was
Including her
playing
hands.
in his blood.
Oh, peculiar. All right, well, we're not investigating that murder at this time, although we'll come back to that.
I don't
How do
even
you
think
know?
you don't even need to investigate that murder. We took care of it, and I can tell you, she killed him.
How do you know Evelyn? How long have you known her?
I've known her as long as I've been sent here to be a paladin at this chapter of Tyr's Great Church. And rumors abound. All I know is her relationship with her husband Peter, or late husband Peter, didn't start bright and shining, so I can understand why it didn't end bright and shining as well.
You said sent here. Where are you from originally?
I'm from the great town of Waterdeep. If only I could go leave this backwater and get back there.
Here's a question. If she murdered her husband in cold blood, carved out his heart, why would she sit around to be caught afterwards?
I don't know the mind of a killer, right? Someone insane, someone deranged? Who knows what she was doing? Like I said, his heart was cut out. Maybe she thought it would be fun to just sort of see it beat until its last moment.
Deranged, but intelligent enough to hide the murder weapon to the point where you can't find it?
You're gonna come in here and tell me that you think that she didn't murder? You don't even know these people. So come off it.
He's gonna kind of stand up a little bit and turn and kind of like start walking around him in a circle. I'm trying to intimidate him here a little bit, and while he's kind of doing it, he's gonna say, "You're right. I'm not from around these parts. I don't know these people. But one thing I can tell you is I've been to many cities, and regardless of the denizens and individuals in that city, people don't change. Their behaviors don't change. Something here doesn't add up. And you, Mr. Waterdeep, might not be able to see that. But I can tell you that someone is not just deranged and crazy, but logical enough to hide something that crucial as the blade they used to carve out their husband's heart.
All I know is that her father-in-law came down and immediately had the guards called. Maybe in that moment of panic, she found a way to get rid of the weapon in a last-ditch effort to try and seem innocent.
Where is this Claude?
At his home. Where else would he be?
Maybe hiding a murder weapon. And I'll turn and walk away.
Yeah.
Go, Brad.
Sorry, I'm getting really smiley because this is fun. So it's like
this is fun.
my facial expressions are out of character than from the actual.
As you start to walk away, Dremon Vok. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Evelyn's potential murder, her murdering her husband, but do you see anybody who would, other than maybe her father-in-law, have motive to hurt Evelyn or this other gentleman?
Peter? Or are you talking about Boren?
Boren. These two. I'm going back to our case, what we're getting paid for.
Okay, sorry. Again, I have not seen things like this before. I do not know what drives a killer to do the things that they do, right? The things that we see in cities, the serialized killings, the torturings. These are all things that I have what drives these type of people. That psychology has not been developed in my timeline quite yet.
Making him, yeah.
But this guy, we picked him up and he's only been here for a little while and he kept his head down. I don't know who would have got a grudge against him. Maybe someone coming after him. But really, he brought everything upon himself, if you ask me.
Yes, of course.
Priestly figure arrested for assault, right? What,
Did Sten say assault? It's much worse than assault. You want to know what you want to know what that shitbag did in there?
Yes, please.
Yes, very much.
Sorry, all of a sudden I got a bunch of pop-ups. Ads.
I see you're pausing for effect. Whenever you're ready.
We found that. You called him a priest. No priest. I don't care what god you follow would have done what he did. Our wonderful smith, great woman Georgina, runs Georgina Smith. What a surprise. We found him cutting her tongue out in the middle of her shop. And we brought him here. And it was only because of Sten that we had to treat him like a decent human being. Tyr is a kind god, but he is a just god. And in my eyes, someone like that deserves to get their due rewards immediately.
You caught him carving out her tongue?
In the act of carving her tongue out. Thank God a customer came in.
Who found Boren doing this?
One of the miners walked in, saw some sort of altercation, ran down the street to get us. And I and Adon went in there because we were on duty, and he had finished cutting Georgina's tongue out by the time we got there.
You saw him carving out the tongue?
We saw blood streaming out of her mouth, her tongue on the floor next to her, and him pinning her down with a knife in his hand.
And did she point at him accusatorially or anything, or did she write anything down saying what had happened?
She said she doesn't know what happened.
She clearly didn't say anything.
She wrote, and I would be more than happy to tell you where you can find her because I'm sure she would be very happy to vouch for this.
Perhaps,
but
yes,
she
okay.
very clearly said that he was the one who did this to her.
Okay.
I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but did you or Georgina notice anything strange about this man? Eyes, different color. It sounds like a pretty extreme act for someone that's been here a couple days to just do that out of nowhere.
Agreed. And to be honest, I think Sten saw how fired up I got every time I was around this douchebag, so he didn't let me go into that cell.
So let's circle back.
I'll just do an insight
Okay.
check real quick on everything Vincent's saying.
Okay.
Catch-all insight check.
Well, if you want me to be specific, I can. I rolled an 18 plus 4, so 22.
Ooh.
But basically, is he withholding anything? Does he believe everything he's saying? Or is it just like the anger of justice? Or
You get the strong sense, especially now that he's going on this sort of like, he really believes that Boren didn't deserve to live, and yeah, he is convicted in the way he's talking about this.
So I think I'll say that telepathically to the other two. Douchey or not, he believes everything he's saying. It doesn't seem like he's holding anything back.
Tell me, Vincent, have you seen any magic like this? And kind of nods to the two bodies.
To be honest, no. I haven't seen anything like this. And I don't know why it takes a couple of outside experts that we have to give valuable church money to figure out that, yes, this is weird, but why do we care?
Insight.
Okay.
Double insight.
That's not great. Nine for me.
Oh, Brad, you said double insight, so I wasn't sure if you were rolling again.
No, I was just saying. I already did
okay.
it.
Sorry.
Or I did insight earlier.
Okay.
But Eric did it. I'm not
Okay.
doing it again.
Okay. I mean,
Take him at face value, kind of.
yeah.
Cool.
Like he's rubbing you the wrong way, you're rubbing him the wrong way. Like this is just, and yeah.
If I may, things are getting a little heated here. So maybe we could just circle back to the day of the murders. Now, you mentioned that you served them lunch with Brock, and I was just wondering, what did you do after you served them lunch?
Generally we paladins spend our day doing, training, keeping our bodies in peak shape. Sorry, break the tone. But then praying, and then we live here. So we kind of are around for the community in case they need anything. We serve as city guards. We serve as ministers of a sort. We are here at the people's service.
I understand that's what you do in the average day, but specifically the day of the murders. You spent the day training, I assume, with Brock and Adon.
Adon was off that day.
Adon was off. Okay.
Yeah. He may have been around eating in the mess hall, reading, whatever he does. But no, I was training. Sten is the one who takes care of the prisoners. I was doing him a favor by bringing them their lunch. Really, he is in charge of prisoners. I'm in charge of bringing the prisoners to him.
Understood. So you spent the day training.
And at that time, he was the only one who had the key.
I'm sorry? The only one with the key.
I told you,
Sten.
I threw those rolls through that window. I didn't want to see those.
But you said
criminals?
you did see them alive. They were alive.
Yes.
Okay. Now, after you spent the day training with Brock and praying, was there any time where you two were not together?
No, we were on temple grounds. Nothing happened that day. Not today, right? It would have been today. So it was like nothing happened until Sten started blubbering about what we've all seen in here.
And what were you doing when you found out that there had been, when Sten had informed you of the murders?
Well, I had just finished up dinner, and that's what he was taking them their dinner, right? He had served me and Brock up and I was getting ready for my sort of nighttime routine. Was going to do some praying, some
praying.
some prayer. Greatly depression. I was going to do my prayers, my meditations for the day, and all of a sudden he yelled that there were murders. So I had to run in and I had to look over the bodies as well.
Understood. And you were with Brock at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm going to telepathically say this. Do we have any other questions for this witness / suspect?
None here.
I think we have all we need from this guy.
Right. Well, Vincent, thank you very much for your time. I do certainly appreciate your insights into the previous murders and assault, I suppose. And thank you for filling us in about your day here and the things that happened. If we have other questions, we will certainly come find you. Will you be on the temple grounds all day?
As long as nothing pulls me away. So all I have to say is please don't make any trouble in my town, or it'll be trouble for y'all.
Certainly we would never. We're polite young. Well, they're young. I've been around a few times, I suppose. But we won't cause any problems for you while we're solving your murders.
Drumbuck's gonna yawn very loudly and obviously.
Yeah. He just kind of like gives you a side-eye glare and says, if you want, I can tell you to confirm, because I can see that you don't believe some of the things I'm telling you. I can tell you how to get to Georgina's from here.
Yes, that would be useful.
Yeah, the
Up your butt and around the corner.
the Cloud the Cloud Applegate's estate and where Georgina is would be great.
Yeah. It's can't miss it. Can't miss it. The smithy is just down the road. The estate is a little bit, further. It's probably the nicest place around here, or at least it used to be, but it's fairly easy, and he just gives you directions.
Okay,
cool. All right, we'll wait for Vincent to walk out. So, gentlemen, do we go talk to Georgina or Evelyn's father-in-law?
Well, I
or
don't think we'll be able to talk with Georgina.
Yeah.
But we may be able to talk.
Figure of speech. Should we converse with her?
Yeah, it's okay. We
Should
could also. I wouldn't mind corroborating Vincent's story with Brock.
I was just going to say, I think we should speak with all the guards first.
Understood. Brock? Brock! And is Brock there?
He's the Brock. Oh, dude. So, okay. Travelers, what can I do for you?
We just had a few questions, if you don't mind.
Of
Will you
course.
please tell us of your day? When was the last time that you saw them alive?
You see, he's having a really hard time with the smell. And you honestly think he's about to just hurl, but he kind of what was that? I'm sorry. I'm not used to this sort of thing.
I was just wondering, when was the last time that you saw them alive?
I think I came with Vincent when he gave them their lunch through the window. I thought it was kind of, to be honest, a little rude of him to just throw rolls through the little bars, but Vincent's my boss after all, and they seem to be. I didn't see them. I didn't look in the window, but I heard some shuffling in there after he threw the bread in.
Very good. Then, so they were likely alive. And did Vincent look in the window or anything like that to, would he have definitely known that they were alive?
He did. He always had a habit of letting them know his distaste for them. So he never let it lie when he didn't have to.
And what were you doing the rest of the day?
I'm actually one of the the paladins from around here. I was son of a miner, and I thought, I'd rather serve Tyr than be a miner. So sometimes my family comes and visits. I don't even know why I'm saying this because they didn't come visit me that day. But generally, I try to stay quite devout. Sound body, sound mind.
Specifically today, after lunch, what did you do?
After lunch, I walked up and down the streets a little bit to make sure no one needed any help.
So you left
patrol.
the temple.
I did for not a long time. I mean, you've seen it's not the biggest of towns, and nothing seemed amiss. So I came back and I joined Vincent, who is training at the moment, and I helped him finish up. I washed up. I like to, after every exercise I do, I like to keep myself clean. Again, sound body, sound mind. And
so how long had you left the temple for?
I can't really say. I mean, no more than 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, I maybe passed by, anyone I knew and asked how they were doing, asked if I could be of any service, but nothing. It was just a normal quiet day in Keegan's Rest.
Hazel walks away as the conversation was happening, and I want to stealth kind of out of the cell a little bit and see if I can catch any Vincent/Sten conversation or anything that might be happening out there. So just letting you know now, you can keep with this conversation, but
okay. You can type in the chat if Chris has more questions. Let a stealth roll, if you want to. Or just say it. I wasn't sure if Chris had.
I do have more questions.
Okay, yeah. So go ahead and just type it in the chat when you get it, Brian.
So, if you don't mind, who had? Why don't we start with this? How many keys are there to the cell?
There's only one.
Very
Usually,
good.
Usually, we pass it around when we need to. If we're bringing a prisoner in, we get the key. But usually Sten when he's just bringing food, Sten's the one in charge of the key.
I see. And he had it today?
Yeah.
Is there any other way that someone could have gotten into there that you could think of?
I mean, there's only one way in and one way out, and the door was shut and locked. We had to unlock it to get in.
Mm.
Door was locked. Very
I
good.
can vouch for that.
Let me ask you a question, Brock. And he's gonna kind of guide him towards the bodies. He's gonna lean down towards Boren first, and grab something like a stick or just something to kind of move around the liquid. Have you ever seen anything like this covering inside a body that could suffocate a man? And kind of get a sample of the stickiness and kind of really just draw his attention to it.
He's a young guy, like a young man, if you will, and he's having a hard. He's he doesn't want to look. He's like, no, I haven't seen anything like that.
Nothing you can think of magically.
No.
Nothing you've seen before.
Oh, no, that's disgusting.
Insight
And he sort
check?
of does a, what's that?
Insight check?
Sure.
14.
He is using everything he can to not throw up.
Okay. All right. So pretty legit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guide him to the other body and do a similar thing. Kind of anything you see here. as
I'm
far as
not going
proportion?
near that. That. That's too much for him. But he stands in afar. He's like, no, I haven't seen anything like that. That's Evelyn, for God's sake. Oh.
Do you know her well?
I didn't know her very well. I mean, I was part of the mining families, right? And she kind of lived around the estate. No, but she seemed kind enough.
Do you think she could have murdered her husband in cold blood and carved out his heart without a knife?
I don't know. I mean, everything seemed to point to that. But you never know. There's no art to read the mind's construction in the face. You don't know what people are thinking.
Maybe you should pray to your god more on it.
Huh? And he looks actually kind of mystified by that statement.
I mean, from my understanding, the deities can provide clarity and clairvoyance in situations like these, can they not? Why not seek a higher power to determine someone who is so close to your hometown as to their guilt?
I mean, I pray, but I don't have any direct, I don't get spoken to by Tyr.
I see.
I might be a paladin, but I'm just really starting this ministry.
Telepathically, I'm communicating to the other two and say, like, I don't think he knows anything. Do we keep him?
Agreed. I think we can let him
Do
go.
we keep him?
He's of no use.
I am a little perplexed because Vincent has said he was with Brock all day, but Brock then said that he had left for roughly an hour.
That's a good note.
Confusion
Well, should
or
we
enough
head?
time for murder?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Although he was very disturbed at the smell and the sight of the bodies, I don't know that he could have done something like this, but it may have been an act.
Drimavok's gonna turn to Brock and say, "We relieve you at this point. Can you grab a non for us?"
I can see if he's here.
Please.
Hi.
In the interim, while we're waiting, where do we move next?
Well, I think we should maybe investigate the other crime scenes.
Which one do we start with?
Oh, Eric, real quick, can you do a perception check for me?
Sure, I sure fucking can. Perception? Ooh, we like that. 22.
Okay. As you were, and I didn't want to interrupt the flow state, sort of. As you were kind of using the stick to poke at Boren's body, the robes shifted a little bit, and you notice that there was what looks like a slight mark on his chest underneath the robes.
Okay. In the interim, while we're waiting, can I kneel back down and use the stick to try and get a better look?
Yeah. As you do so, you find that there is a tattoo over his heart, and it depicts a coin bearing the image of a two-faced head.
Ooh.
Can we do So Hazel walks back
religion,
in.
I'm assuming?
Sees you doing that and
Sure.
is curious what that coin is.
Yeah, go ahead. Religion check. Intelligence.
21.
11.
So Dramamine. Dramavok. You somehow, even though you're not a religious, a man of religion or a religious, yeah, you've traveled. You know that this is the symbol of the god Hor, Hoar. And you know that god is a god of revenge. And what was your roll again?
21.
Okay, 21. So you know that this sect, this sort of religious following, very secretive. Basically, they don't share much of any of their things with anyone that's on the outside.
Okay.
But people who do know about horror mostly know one thing: that they respond to calls for help, carved into blocks of lead, and they will seek poetic forms of vengeance for any infraction, no matter how small.
Okay. Telepathically, I'm going to communicate and say, I found something.
Yes. What is it?
Ooh, what is it?
I'm going to kind of make the symbol a little bit more transparent and say telepathically, symbol of horror, god of revenge. They're known for exacting retribution in a very poetic, albeit dark way on their victims. Could be why he was carving out that person's tongue earlier.
And you said something about a brick. What was that?
Did you have it, Eric, or do you want me to repeat it?
Would you mind?
Yeah. So basically, what happens is, says they respond to calls for help that are carved into blocks of lead.
Lead.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll keep an eye out for that when we're around
Indeed.
town.
Yes.
there's
Actually,
a few.
have to you do a very quick bio break if you guys want to just
Yeah.
powwow and decide what you're going to do next.
That sounds
And-
lovely.
Yeah.
You can keep recording, you can just tell me when I sit down what you're doing, and that's good.
Where was? Okay.
Wait, did you have a question before I walk
Where
away?
was Boren staying? Do we know that? The 3 days he was here.
You haven't gotten. All you knew is that he had been here for a little bit for Vincent. So he was passing through. No one really knew anything about him. They found him what seemed very likely in the act or just after the act of cutting out the tongue of Georgina.
Yep.
They brought him here, and then Sten told you that he thought he was a priest of some sort because he had a priestly manner and he thought he was praying at times, but he would be very secretive about it.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So
But now that he's gone, should we just talk about how much Joe is the worst? Just the worst.
The worst of the worst.
Yeah, he is the worst.
Just kidding. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. I tried to sneak out and see what the other guys were talking about. They were whispering quietly, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. So I don't know if they're just chatting or
Could be anything.
collaborating. But worth noting. I think, should we talk to Sten one more time before we maybe go to either the estate or to Georgina?
I think that makes sense. We'll see if Anand's here. If he's not, then we'll talk to Sten. And I think it's important that we get some more information on the crimes they committed.
Yeah, so we should also verify that he had the key all day, that it never left his person.
Yes, very good point.
Because the door was still locked. So either the perpetrator came in, did the deeds, and then left and locked the door, or they got in and out through some other means.
I think we're looking at some magical influence here, regardless.
Certainly,
Based on the
that seems to be the
magics,
case.
based on the magics, it does seem like a lock wouldn't hold that whoever did this back.
Likely
But
not. But
how could
the
they?
door was locked.
Yes. So, and how could
certainly-
they be in and out undetected? Right.
Yes,
Lots of questions still, but
indeed.
I think Sten is walking back in. We'll talk to him.
Yeah, so Sten kind of peeks in. He's like, is there anything else you needed at the moment?
Yes, I do have a handful of questions.
Okay.
How many keys are there to the cell?
Come back in, please.
Okay. and he opens the door and shuts it behind him. He goes, there's only the one key, and he kind of like dangles it. It's on a key ring, but he's like, yes, it's just the one key. It's a small. You see, we're a small chapter, and
you
we
had
don't
the
really
key
have need.
all day. You never gave it to anyone else or misplaced it for a time.
Today, no. I had it with me all day. Occasionally, I pass it off if someone needs to go do something, but generally the paladins bring in the criminals, and I open the door for them, and they deposit, and then I lock it.
I see. And what were you doing after lunch?
After lunch, I cleaned up. I tidied. I prayed, as we do, and then I started dinner. I love cooking, so I was trying to come up with something nice after a couple of hard days but my experiments didn't yield much gratitude, if you ask me.
Your experiments, culinary experience.
A culinary experience, yes,
I see.
culinary experience.
What were you doing during lunchtime?
I was eating lunch.
Why didn't you? You said we hear you're the one that delivers the meals to the inmates. Why didn't you deliver lunch today?
Vincent doesn't like when I try to act as an obstacle between him and the prisoners, and he was quite tenacious. So I gave in today and said, fine, you can take them lunch. But I'm holding on to the key. He means well, but he is zealous when it comes to the idea of justice. And sometimes I've never seen him do anything, but sometimes I worry that his seemingly justified anger might lead him to do the wrong thing.
Good. And I don't remember my other question.
Well, while you're thinking of it, just really quick, do you know where Boren was staying before he was apprehended? Was he in the inn?
I know nothing of him other than what I saw here. I would imagine he would be in one of the rooms at the Howling Dog. It's really only a place for travelers unless they wish to take refuge here, and I can tell you he did not take refuge here.
Yes, there's the Howling Dog would be the only place people like us or travelers would stay.
Indeed.
And you
I'll just
said,
Go ahead.
You said Anon is not here
Yeah.
at the moment, right?
No. Adon usually likes to go see his sweetheart.
Has he been gone all
Vincent.
day?
Don't tell Vincent. Yeah, I mean, it is his day off. He did his daily devotions in the morning, and he has time to spend with his friends and family if he doesn't have to be here. It's the rest of us don't have much else, so we tend to just stay here.
And you said he's visiting his girlfriend?
Yes, he's sweet on one of the servants at Lord Applegate's. They call it the estate, but it's just a rather big house.
Interesting.
What's her name? How long have they been together? Are they planning on getting married? And what's the history of her? No, just kidding.
One final question for me, thank you. When was the last time that you saw the deceased alive?
I brought them their breakfast and saw them. That is when I saw one of those moments of that man Boren. As I said, I thought praying. Evelyn still looked, frankly, out of sorts. Just sat in the corner, but she was alive and well, still eating. And then I did not look on them again because Vincent insisted on lunch, and then I went to bring them dinner, and I found them the way that they are.
I see, yes, okay. And then telepathically, I'm just going to say I don't have any more questions for him. Do you?
Mm-hmm. I think we're good.
Okay.
No more for now.
Thank you, Sten. If you don't mind, would you show us to, would you agree, gentlemen, and gentlemen and lady, forgive me, that we should perhaps check out the other 2 crime scenes for anything that may have been missed?
I think that'd be wise.
Yes, would you show us to the first crime scene, please, Mr. Sten?
Again, which one?
Whichever one is closer is fine.
So that would be
Georgina's,
yes.
right?
I can show you that, yes. If you don't mind, I can show you where it is, but I will need to deposit you there if that is okay.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So we are going.
The smithy.
Yeah, we're going to change scenes.
Banana.
Just for fun. It's loading.
Load that scene. Load that scene.
Mr. Gorbachev, load that scene.
Where's the tongue?
Okay, so where is that page? You walk through the streets and see the sort of glow of the flames coming out the doorway of the forge as you turn the corner. So it's very clear that this is most likely where you're heading. And you notice it is a small establishment. It's in the same area, right? So just around the corner from the temple. The sign itself says Georgina Smithy, so it's not very hard to connect the dots. And as you walk in, it is clear that the owner, the proprietor, Georgina, as everyone has said, is very proud of her work. There's some high quality tools, shields, armor, and weapons on the wall and in displays and models that display them throughout the shop. As you walk in, you see a strong looking woman sort of hammering at the forge. Human, but burly, almost as burly. Like you at first would think if she was smaller, I could mistake her for a dwarf. And yet there are also 2 sort of grim looking men who kind of perk up as you walk in. You see them they both have cudgels hanging from their belts, and they both kind of narrow their eyes as you walk in, and you see them kind of make a little noise of attention getting, and Georgina kind of like sees them and looks up and kind of just stops her work and almost not quite like deer in headlights, but kind of goes rigid to see you 3 strangers walking in to her shop. And then says this is going to take some time, but like we're not going to act that out. She so she kind of hammers and just sort of waits. She says nothing.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's not interesting, but
Well, I mean, what would she have said?
yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But she just sort of waits to see what you do.
Tremo, can you do that telepathic thing to her, or did you use it up for the day?
So
Or we could just write stuff down. I could see her feeling.
I can do it.
But then could you kick her out of our brain?
I can only do it by 2 creatures at a time.
Oh, okay. Well,
but like they're unlimited uses?
No. I have a finite amount of times I can do this, but
I mean, we could do it the regular way. I was just thinking she might
Let's-
feel a little better
Let's
to be able to talk.
Let's
again,
try
but-
and see if we can do it the regular way. If it becomes problematic, then
I'm not gonna do writing. I'm just gonna like tell you her
Well, yeah,
answers.
yeah,
to see
yeah.
that's fine. That's fine.
Link once for.
Hello,
yeah, who-
Georgina. My name is Sivo Shorehill, private investigator. This is my entourage, and if it's all right, we would like to ask you some questions about the event that happened to you a few days ago.
As you say event, like her eyes get a little wide, and then she kind of steels herself, and she just slowly nods at you, and looks at the other two, and gives them a nod, and just holds up her finger, and walks away, and comes back with some
Get back here.
sheaves of paper and some quills, and she just writes out. And so I'm not going to say she writes out, she writes out, she writes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. First of all, I just want to know who you said you're a private investigator.
Yes.
Are you here to bring justice? Are you here to help me?
Yes, certainly. We want to make sure we understand the crime that was committed against you, as well as, a week earlier there was another heinous crime that we are investigating that as well, and then
And you see her like shake her head.
and then peculiarly we'll get to that later. Now, would you mind describing when it was you first saw the person who did this to you?
She writes, I had never seen him before that day. I was working the forge, as I am now. And as you three did, he walked in. And because he's a stranger, I asked if I could help him. All he asked was if I was the Georgina who owned this place. And I thought, well, my name is on the sign, so of course he might ask that. As soon as I said yes, and she sort of like takes a moment, and she just opens her mouth, and you see like the bloody stub of her tongue. And she goes, and you see like she just like gets really upset.
So there was no other kind of communication between the two of you. He just asked if you were Georgina, and then he attacked you.
And now you can see she's getting upset, and she's like, no, in big letters.
He
Never.
walks over.
Underline.
Never.
Walks over to her side and puts my arm on her, my hand on her back. Justice was served to Borin, the man who did this. So you can rest assured there.
Sure, it's what? Like, what do you mean?
He's dead.
Is this true?
It's
How?
true, and the circumstances are peculiar. This all seems very peculiar and not normal. We're trying to understand everything that happened.
And she just like points to her tongue.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other two doing during all this?
They're just watching you and her intently.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, and please don't take it the wrong way. We found some information about this, your assailant, and it's a relevant question. Have you wronged or crossed anybody that you can think of.
She furrows her brows
Recently.
and goes, "No."
The reason why we ask is we think that Boren may have been perhaps hired or convinced to commit this act against you. And if that is true, we would like to see this other person brought to justice as well. So if you could think of anyone who may have a grudge against you or may have wanted you harmed, specifically in this way, that would be helpful to bring further justice to those involved.
And she kind of cuts you off and just like again talks, and I feel bad doing the tongueless thing, but like, I said no.
Insight?
Yeah, I'll do an insight since I'm standing right in front
Insights all around.
of her. Natural 20.
That's her go.
24.
There we go.
Finally, I'm rolling like
19.
crap.
What's funny, Brad, is I also rolled a natural 20.
Oh,
really?
You can tell though with your 24 that she isn't just angry, like she is slightly trying to end the conversation here in a way that isn't just out of trauma. Like you can tell there's a little bit of shiftiness that perhaps the untrained eye might not see because of the emotions bubbling to the surface, but you can tell that something isn't.
So telepathically, I'll say she doesn't want to talk anymore, but not because of what happened. I don't know if it's the others here or if there's something else.
Jay, you said that it was a request written inside a lead
Like carved into a lead block.
block. Do you know where we could find a lead block in the town?
And she kind of just like doesn't know, like, what are you talking about? Like, especially considering the moment that just happened. She's like, and she writes down, it's a mining town. I mean, there's lead everywhere. And she even like points like they're lead, like, I don't know, you just don't have like lead blocks, but like says like she has lead and other things, like there's just lead.
Okay.
So I'm going to approach the other two guys and just to, ask, if you don't mind, what is your relation to Georgina?
And they just stared down at you. They go, we're here to protect her.
I see. Georgina, is that true? They're here to protect you.
And she says, yeah, I hired them after what happened because now I don't feel safe in my own shop.
Makes sense. That is completely understandable. Telepathically just kind of says to everybody, I got nothing else.
I'm just gonna do a quick once-over in the building. Just investigating, see if anything seems out of place, out of sorts. A cubby hole, a hiding place, anything that might seem like secret or obscured.
Yeah, I'll do the
okay.
same thing.
Okay.
While
yeah, so you
he's
roll your
doing
rolls,
that-
and then Brad, you tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, okay. While he's doing that, and Sivo's talking to the burly gentleman or the two gentlemen, I'm gonna sneakily try and write on her little pad since I'm next to her and I kind of have my hand on her. What do I want to write? Are you safe? Basically, I'll write, are you safe? Or, that's what I'll write first. And then I'll try and write, should we talk alone? Basically.
23 for investigation.
25.
Yeah, you two. I mean, it's just a standard smithy.
Okay.
You don't notice anything of. Brad, to your first question, when you ask, "Are you safe? Do we need to go along?" And she kind of next to it says, "You tell me," and just sort of stares at you, and looks down at like the weapons at your belt.
We're here.
So you
to...
notice there's a little bit of tension growing.
Mm-hmm. I back away. We're here to solve a mystery and bring, unlike Tyr's righteous justice, bring justice to those that have caused harm to everyone in this town, including yourself.
Okay.
That's
First
all we're
I thought
here
you were
for.
saying that she has done harm, but I see. Yeah.
No.
I know. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. The sentence had to like form in my brain for a minute.
Yeah.
She just nods and says, "We don't need to talk alone. I trust them."
Okay. Do you have any other information that could help us figure out why this happened to you? What drove this attack or any other mysterious things that have gone on, either with, what's her name? Evelyn and her husband?
Again, at the mention of what happened to you, like, it's very strange. I guess do an insight again. Well, you had a really big insight earlier, so let me just I'm just checking tracks, so if it seems like very strange music, I just picked the wrong one. I apologize. Okay, we're just gonna go back to that one because that's not what I thought it was. Yeah, she gets like weirdly, like almost like she flexes like indignant when you bring up what happened to her again.
Hmm.
And then she just shakes her head no when you ask about all of it. She doesn't even write anything down.
Okay. I don't know. I kind of tell everybody, like I say to the other, excuse me, others telepathically that she's holding on to something, but I can't figure it out. And that's all I say. So you both are aware of that.
Yeah. I'm gonna telepathically say, I think we're done here. I'm gonna give her one last chance as we're exiting, or at least plant a seed in her head. Are we ready?
Yes, I think so.
I'm ready.
So,
Sivo, you ready?
Yeah,
You there?
I was actually going to send a message to Hazel to try and like initiate the exit, like verbally, to like the whole room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Sivo will start walking out.
Okay. And as we're all kind of like filing out, Drimavok's going to kind of like pause for a second and turn as he's walking past Georgina and say, "You know, the man who did this, he probably came under higher orders, and I understand that you have some extra protection." He's gonna kind of like turn and kind of like glance to the side. But these religious fanatics, they tend to be a bit zealous. The more you tell us, the more we'll be able to help you in the long run. Just some food for thought. And he'll turn and kind of like start to walk out slowly a little bit, giving her time to say, like, you know, respond if need be, but he's going to start to exit.
Okay. In that split second, do a perception check for me.
Everyone?
dog shit. It's dog shit. 8.
Okay. You don't notice anything, and she doesn't seem to like. She doesn't respond to you, but all of a sudden, one of the guys in the back of the room pulls his crossbow, level at you, and says, "I think it's about time you get the fuck out of here."
Well, that's convenient because we were just leaving. And continues to like walk towards the door.
And he just sort of has it leveled at you as you go.
Yes, thank you for your time. If you think of anything else, we'll be about town.
And at your last words, before you can finish your sentence, he lets a bolt go and like hit the one of those intimidating things, where it just like shrunk right next to you. I said, "Get the fuck out."
Right. Okay. Well, that's fine. We are leaving. But if you think of anything else,
Let's go. Let's go.
Let it be known. The next bolt you loose will be your last.
it's true. I've seen him kill people for shooting bolts.
I am very tempted to make you roll initiative for continuing to speak. Let's let the dice first decide if we do or not.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay. The other guy says, "I'm not as trigger happy as my friend, but I echo his words when I say get out and do not come back. Goodbye. Good day, sir. You lose."
I mean, we're leaving. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
See you later.
Oh, and by the way,
Yeah, right.
I was
like you to
thinking
be
about
like,
it.
"Oh, sorry, cat got your tongue." Whoop.
All right.
All right, to the
Yeah.
Well, it's also
state.
midnight is for
Cloud.
you guys. Is that what are you guys thinking? I don't feel
All
like
right.
we're super close.
How are you feeling, Jay?
I'm good for now. I mean, I'm tired as hell, but like I'm enjoying this, and I mean, I am gonna be in dorms
we're not
until
gonna
12:30 tomorrow. I don't think we're finishing this tonight. That's
No,
we're
for
not
we're
gonna
not,
finish this
we're
in
not.
10 minutes. I don't know what's a good.
That's what I'm thinking. This might be a good stopping point.
Yeah,
The
this might be a
estate
good
is gonna
organic
probably
stopping
be a
point.
big one, I would imagine.
It depends
Yeah.
on you.
I think we
Well,
probably stop it.
let's go ahead and
here
just
for
kill these
Stop
dudes
convenience
real
here.
sake.
quick.
Okay, yeah,
No.
that's
Let's kill these dudes.
Yeah, let's murk these guards real fast.
I really want to use Dread Ambusher, so I'm really down for that. But
yeah. Okay, if you guys want to stop, we can stop. I mean, I am tired, so like
I think it makes sense because like I have a feeling when we get to this state, it's going to be another half an hour at least.
yeah, I'm fine with a half hour if you guys are. Like 12:30 is an okay time for me, but it okay.
I
If you're
think it
saying
might. I think it's gonna drag out a little bit, honestly.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, that first area took a lot longer than I expected to.
That's you should expect that.
Yeah, we
I
are
do,
diligent
and
if
I
nothing
don't At the
else.
same time, like I expected this to take much longer, and that one not to take it. Yeah, so okay, let's
Yeah.
call it here then. We're good.
Excellent.
Part
All
2 coming soon.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll have to be in suspense. Listen.
Yes.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da.
Cool.
That's probably my suspense noise right there.
I like the
So do we stop
telepathic thing,
recording
that's
or not
fun.
yet?
Yeah, that was a
That's
fun little perk.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we could probably end it. Bye,
And
All right,
Joe.
yeah.
Have a good
See you, Joe.
vacation.
Safe flight. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I think next week maybe the same thing.
I think
Sure.
so.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Let's do it.
All right. Until then,
Same bat time,
Yeah.
same bat channel.
deuces, y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye.